Okay, so as discussed in the last post, this method of creating a force main is a very versatile and fully dynamic method. I'm going to take this a little farther now and show you how you can adjust the vertical of your force main by providing a design profile for the bottom of the inverted pipe. What I did is, continuing with the same file that we had before, added a little bit to it. I added an actual storm run here coming down the road to this drains, this way. And I also cut a profile of the force main. So the force main's coming through here, coming right up the middle of the road. And these little yellow lines here are just our surface that we talked about last time, so we'll set those to no display. All right, so to see this force main on this profile, one of the things we can do is, if you remember, we have two surfaces, a top and a bottom. So if I come into profiles and create profile from surface, and I get on this force main alignment, I can actually pull those two profiles here. By hitting OK, and then you can see that force main. Now I can't edit it because it's really following the existing grade, which is great if you don't need to adjust it, manually, design and adjust it. It just follows existing grade, and if you move the alignment around, the force main adjusts with the existing grade. But what if I do want to make an adjustment to it? Well, what we can do is then we can control this bottom invert. So let's take that piece of the surface out of this profile. So I'm going to go in my force main alignment under there in the profiles, and this pipe bottom, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And after that's deleted, I can go ahead and draw in how I want that force main to be. And as you can see, I'm a little close to my crossing here. This is the force main crossing the sewer, and this is the sewer crossing the force main alignment. So I'm going to go ahead and create a profile. Use my create profile tools, pick this alignment, and I'm just going to throw a design force main on here, and I'll finish layout. Grade will be fine, so it's just a red line. And I'll just do tangent, tangent, no. And maybe we don't want a high point in here, so maybe we're just going to take this out. For some reason, we want this high point to be out here, and we want our sewer to be underneath our storm line. I'm just going to throw out 2 high points there, and we're set to go. Now we have the invert design profile. We can simply go back into our corridor model. If you remember, this is a type corridor. And I can set the profile instead of the existing grade. I can set it to that force main design 1, hit OK. It's going to go ahead and rebuild that, that force main, and there we go. Now, you can notice it looks a little odd here. Well, what's going on? Well, it's actually taking that force main off that design profile, going 4 foot down, and that's the top of the line. So we do need to make an adjustment. If you can recall in the last session, we used an offset assembly, or not an offset assembly. We offset the, I don't know what you call that, the offset the vertical of the assembly. We're going to go ahead and drag that back. So the invert of the pipe is right on the design profile. And you can go, you saw my force main corridor update, and we're in good shape here. You can even take it and do a little bit more work, and maybe you want to do one of those little whoop-de-doo kind of designs where you have maybe a U shape coming down. So I want to pull that up, put a design point here, and another design point back up here. You'll see it will do that now. I'm getting a little goofy of a shape here, and I can fix that up here in a little bit. And then maybe I also want to take and put a vertical curves, some vertical curves on that. Get some vertical curves in there. And the reason that's looking a little odd is because of the frequency. So if I go into my Forcemain corridor, go to set all frequency, you can see I'm going every 25 feet. It's for effect here. Let's set that to every foot. Might be a little much, but hey, it's a test file. I can do whatever I want. In a real design, you might not want to go to a foot. You might want to try 2 feet or 5 feet or something to that order. And after that rebuild, you can see you can have a Forcemain here, and you can show it in your design coming up and sliding underneath utilities and so on and so forth. So I find this funny. A lot of people will design this in by hand, and then they'll just offset the line up to be the top of the line when they're doing it by hand. That's not actually right, because it gets thinner here as you go steeper because of your exaggeration on your profile. So I've been drawing it wrong for years. But as you know, as we're going and all this time, my scale's a little large here. Keep in mind my cross sections are updating. You can also see over here on the storm profile how the crossings now of the Forcemain showed dip down below storm line. So if I would raise this up, of course it's going to rebuild, and that crossing oval is going to slide up closer to my storm line. The final piece to this is that you can simply project your Forcemain onto maybe a road center line. So that's another thing that you might need to do, is project that Forcemain onto a road center line. To do that, all you need to do is have your road center line profile. And for this, I'm going to have to probably turn on my menu bar for some help here. And I go to Profiles and create Superimpose Profile. It says Select Source Profile, so I'd select my design and select Destination. Just hit OK. And that's going to show the bottom projected onto the center line. And I'll go ahead and do that again. Superimpose Profile. Select my surface profile for the top of the Forcemain that's generated by the corridor. Hit OK there, and there you go. So now as I change things, of course, everything's going to update. So those crossings you saw update, and you'll also see my superimposed profile update as well. And there you go.